Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to see how different mediums work on watercolor paper. I wanted to see if I preferred one system over the other, and I thought you might want to come along for the ride. So the first thing I wanted to show you were a couple cards I've gotten in the mail recently. The first one is from my friend Rebecca at Rubber Stamp Tapestry. It's really pretty. Look at the glitter in that. It's just gorgeous. And then the next one, I was so impressed with this one from my friend Jane. She used something from a magazine, or no, I guess it's a calendar, for her envelope. I thought that was ingenious. And then she decorated the edges. It's really a slick idea. And then her card has this one with Daffy Duck on it, and unfortunately, it looks like I pulled something off there. I'm sorry about that. She wrote me a lovely letter inside, and I think she put something on the back. Yeah, she has a stamp from the mind of Jane Peters. Isn't that cute? And it says Certified Stampaholic, which I thought was adorable. So those are my two that I can find. I have another one. I don't know what I did with it. I just got it. So I bought this from Stamplistic, and his name is Frankie, and he's very, very large. I wanted to figure out, obviously the crap that's around the edges, I'm cutting him out, so you won't have to worry about that. But what I wanted to try was I wanted to see if I just colored, I'm not coloring his whole body, but I thought I would try with 3 different mediums. The first one I'm going to go with will be alcohol markers to see how well we blend, and I'm using kind of a variety. This one is from Studio 71. Most of them are touch 5s, and then there's one Copic that my friend Rebecca gave me. The Copic is called YR04, and then the touch 5s are 48, 123, and 124 in the greens, 81, 83, and 145 in the purples. And then I told you that one, that's Orange Peel YR4, that's those. So then the next thing I'm going to be using is colored pencils, and I'm going to be doing some blending with them, and I thought you'd want to watch that. These are not watercolor, these are colored pencils. And the third technique I thought I would do is actual watercoloring, and I'm going to be using these, they're called Superior Watercolors. You get 42 of them, and you can buy them from Amazon. I bought mine from Aliexpress because they were $2 or $3 less. You get 42 of them for like $13, which I thought was great, and I swatched all of mine on the bottom here so I could tell what was what. So the first thing I thought I would do is show you, before we do that, I thought I would show you my plan for the inside of the card and for the front of the card. I cut my papers so they would fit in the large envelopes, the large business envelopes, because people ask me all the time about making large cards. So this is a large card. These are the envelopes for them. So the envelopes are, I'm not sure how big they are, but I'll tell you how big the cards are. The cards are, this is what my card base is, and it is, I'll just give you these measurements so you know how big they are. They are tall, 9 3/8 inches tall, and wide they are 3 and it looks like 3 1/4 inches wide. So everything that I made to go inside of it, and that would be this to write on, that is I think 3 1/2 inches. I want to make sure that's right. Yeah, 3 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches. So that is my inner part of my card, and I can put that in right like that. I rounded the corners of that with my corner rounder. I'm not going to say the name of it. I'm just going to spell it for you. KADOMARU Pro. I got it from Amazon. It has 3 sizes, small, medium, and large rounds. I love it. I've talked about it a million times. I can't recommend it highly enough. I used to like my little Creative Memories paper corner rounder, but this is far superior because it gives me, I can use, not only can I use my hand on this, but I can use my forearm, and that makes a big difference if you have strength issues. I bought this crime scene tape at the Dollar Tree with their Halloween decorations, and I thought that would be really kind of funky for the inside of the card. I was going to make up the insides of my cards first so that you didn't have to kind of watch that. So what I did was I rounded my corners, as I told you, of the gray piece, and then I had these little table decorations that you get at party stores or at Hobby Lobby that were all different colors of spiders, so I stuck those in, and I had some dies that cut Happy Halloween and some bats. And then on this one, I had a little bit of scrap left from the front of this paper, so I put 3 of these spiders, and then up here, so glad we met on the web and I missed another spider. And I'm going to throw some spiders in when I send these too, because I think they're fun. They also came with some webs, but since I had this cool web, I thought it'd be fun to just stick that one right there. It says, so glad we met on the web. And then I'm going to show you how I did the front, and then we're going to put our Frankenstein over this. And I did that on these two. Then on this one, I did the trick or treat and the same things at the bottom. Those are from dies that I had. And then I thought it'd be fun to do this crime scene, but I didn't like it after I was done with it. And I'm going to still show you how to cover the front with the paper, because sometimes you don't know how to do things like that. And one of the things that's tricky is learning how to rip paper. If you don't know how to rip paper to get this white edge, how you do it, I'm going to get another piece of paper so you can see it live and for real. When you want the white edge on the top, you have to, oh look, I've got glue all over me, excuse me for that. You want to rip the paper toward you like this. If you want the white edge to not show, you rip the paper this way. For this side, it won't be, and that side will be white. So it's just a matter of just kind of playing with it to get what you want. But in my case, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have the purple layer on one side, and I wanted to have the other 2 layers, the purple, the one with all of the activity on it, I wanted to be on the side because I don't want my Frankenstein to be over that because it's a little bit too busy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the purple piece in the middle because both sides of it have the white edges. So this will make it look like it's really ripped on, you know, all the paper is ripped. And I wanted this to look like the 3 pieces of paper are really just one piece. You know what I mean? If you follow that. So you want to line it up on the top and the bottom like that. And don't forget, I have that glue there on the back. I'm going to put glue on this just to make sure that I line this up. Then your third piece, what you do, you take your card, and what I did was I laid these 2 pieces on my card to the left, about 1/4 of an inch from the left, like that. Then I picked up this side because this is where I'm laying it, and I tucked this in so I know that I've got about 1/4 of an inch on that side, well, 1/4 of an inch total on both sides. So it's going to look about like that, and then I use that glue stick because you can move it around once you're done. And then I got a little glue on parts of it, but not on all of it. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the rest, and then we'll be ready to glue her down. And then we'll be ready to go on to seeing which of my little men I like the best after we play with them. And it's going to be a matter probably of preference, but it'll be nice for all of you guys to be able to see the different methods and what the end product looks like, you know, what the end Frankenstein looks like. So that is the one that has the crime scene tape. I thought that would be fun to have that kind of showing, but I think it's too busy now. But you know, you never know. When you play with this kind of stuff, it's all kind of just playing and seeing how it comes out. So the first one I'm going to color, I think I already said this, I'm going to do with my alcohol markers. Now alcohol markers, it doesn't matter what kind you have, they all work pretty much the same. What they don't do is they don't work the same on all papers. Some papers they might bleed a little bit on, so you have to play with your papers. This is watercolor paper. It's from Fabriano. It's a hot press 140-pound paper. And I wanted to do, what I'm doing with each one of these is just their heads. And this is, his name is, wait, I thought I had the right one. Here it is. His name is Frankie, and his number is M170901, and he's from a company called Stamplistic. www.stamplistic.com is how you get to them, and I'll put a link down below, as I always do, with all the information you need to know. So how I like to color with my markers is I like to start with my lighter color first, and I'm doing his face in greens. I have a silver to do these little bullets on his head. What do you call those? Staples? I don't know what these are. I'm just going to put those in. And this is a Sharpie. Now, Sharpies don't blend as easily as other markers that are alcohol based, but if you are learning to start out with alcohol markers, I think you should start out with the inexpensive ones, because that's what I did. I played with Sharpies and the one Bic makes them. That was the other kind I played with. So when I color, I like to start with, I'm starting with my darkest color, which is not what I wanted to do, but we're going to do it anyway just so you can see this. I'm going to go around the edge with this dark color, and I'm just going to try and get in the areas that would be kind of shaded, and put those in real quick if I can. Oh, thanks. Okay, that's our dark color. Now there's a medium tone, and the medium tone I don't use as much as other people probably do, but the way I use it, I kind of play in the areas that already have green on them. This one is not very wet. I'm going to try another one that's a little bit, has a little bit more juice in it. This one is a fluorescent green, not really a color that I normally use. In fact, I don't think I've ever used it. Let me see if I can find another one. I'm going to go with a Spectrum Noir. This is CG1, and it should be a little bit lighter color, or a lot lighter. And I just kind of like to go over those areas in between, just around the edges. I'm not going to do as much as you can. And then you take your lightest, which is this one, which is 123 fluorescent yellow, and this is the one that's going to hopefully blend everything. And you want to go over everything with this color. I don't know why I didn't do his nose at all. Apparently I was waiting to do that in this yellow color. This paper, as I said, is a watercolor paper. It doesn't seem to blend very well at all. So I'm going to go back over my colors with this medium color, because that did not want to play. And this is balling on me, which is really odd. I've never had that happen before in this kind of paper. We might have to go over this again and do them again. And if you have a color that you think is too dark, you can either go over it with a lighter color, or you can use a blender pen. Don't know why he's balling up like that. He shouldn't be. Get his nose a little bit better. Clearly he's got some fuzz going on there. Okay, I'm going to let him sit for a second. Maybe he just needs to dry. And we'll go on to our watercolor. And the watercolors we're using are the 42s, as I said. And the brush I'm using is a Lowell Cornell. It's around 5. See the number on that for a second. And I'm going to go into, let's see, I tried to make this so I could figure out which colors were which on this. Which one is the purple one at the top? Then I want to go to, I think I want to go to this one. Okay. think we're going to use a little bit of this. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully you can see him. And our goal is to only get his head. As I said before, I'm not shooting for the whole body. I just wanted to try his head and see which one of these medium does the best job for his head. You probably know that I'm not a watercolorist. I'm not any kind of artist. I just like to play with these things. So I just thought I would tell you that in case you wondered. For me, it's all about having something fun to play with, and these are fun to play with, that's for sure. Okay, I'm digging that one. I like his face a lot. Let me get under that one eye. I missed a little bit. Got to do something that would look a little bit like silver. I don't know if I have any colors in here. I'll just do our bolts with that. I did do VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I made sure that he was heat embossed with white, with clear embossing powder over that. That way the colors will stay in the pattern better with watercolors. So now we're going to go to the one that is going to be done with colored pencils. Now I like to blend my color pencils, and what I use is Vaseline to do that. You can buy a really small bottle of this at the Dollar Tree that's like this big. It's really, really small, maybe an inch tall. And what you're going to want to do when you color with this is you want to have a cloth nearby that you're going to use for your wiping your tips. What you do is you only put the lead into there, not the wood, just the lead, and then you start coloring in circles, little circles, and I don't know if you can see this, but it does a nice job of making sure you don't have any lines. You just have a nice blended look, and I really like this. I learned this from I think it was Share the Fire. It's CHER the Fire. She's a YouTuber, and I thought this was a genius way to do this. It makes things so much smoother and easier, and I never liked using colored pencils because I didn't like the lines you get with them, but because you don't get the lines with the Vaseline, you don't have to worry about that. Now I'm having a little trouble getting in that little groove there where these ears. But you just want to continue doing the little circles. And I don't know if any of you have trouble with colored pencils, but I've never been good with colored pencils because, well, it's not that I wasn't good at them. I didn't like the look of mine. No, I'm not saying I was good at it either, but it was the fact that it left behind lines. And I'll show you with another pencil in a second so you can see the difference of when you don't do the blending, because there is a huge difference. Trying to get, if you work with these with embossed images, it's kind of sometimes hard to get the pencil around those images. Let me get his forehead a little bit better. I am going to cut him out so he doesn't really need to have it doesn't matter if I make any mistakes on the outside, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, and I'm just going to use this pencil on his fingers so you can see the difference. Wait, before I do that, I don't want to forget. You want to wipe off your tip really well with cloth, just to make sure that you know that Vaseline doesn't stay on there, because I think it would eat away and everything. Okay, so let's do it without that. And I'm using Prismacolor pencils. I like them much better than any other colored pencil or watercolor pencil. I wish they made bigger watercolor pencil sets, because their watercolors, I think the biggest set you can get is 36 or maybe 48. It's not very big, and that bums me out because I really like them. I don't know if you can see. Can you see the lines that I have going on in here? Where over here you can't see that. Maybe I'll show you with the other hand. A little Vaseline on the tip. See, it's on the tip only. And I think it just makes it glide on better. It makes it blend easier. It just really does a much easier job. Let me get that one of coloring. Just my little tip for you for the day. Now, I never said I was an artist. I just want to make sure you know that I'm just showing you how I do things, and I'm not saying I'm super at this. I just wanted to show you kind of the difference between three different mediums. One would be watercolor, one would be the alcohol markers, and the other is the colored pencil, and the different looks you get with them. The only thing I didn't do with the watercolor pencils was the bolts. I used a silver Sharpie on those because I did want to make sure that you saw that. Okay, so that is the difference in my colored pencils. I'm going to finish them up and then we'll come back and you'll see them all. So I thought I would show you something else that I discovered about the pencils, and that is when you dip it in, I'm doing the boots, and you can see the boot on the left isn't very well colored, and I'm going to just show you the difference on the boot on the right, because I didn't put any Vaseline on the boot on the left, and I'm just going to show you the difference between something I figured out and, you know, the way it turns out. So here's what I figured out. If I take my finger, I can actually push the pigment into the boot, into the embossed area, where on this one, I'm going to do it with my other finger. See how you can't do that? But if you go back over it and you put it in there, and do it again, this is the exact same color I used before. I didn't do the bottom of the boot before. Okay, only this time I'm just going to rub it in. Isn't that cool? So if you have any trouble with, you know, you've embossed and you can't get your pigment to go into the embossing, that's all you have to do. If you put a little Vaseline on it, you can just rub it on in. I thought that was kind of cool. I can show you with the orange too. It just rubs it right in. It's cool, I think. Anyway, so that's my scoop. Let me cut them all out and I'll be back. So now I'm wondering if you can tell which one is which. If you know which one is the one I did with an alcohol marker, which one I did with watercolors, and which one I did with the pencils. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I get confused and can't tell myself, but you know, that's just because I'm a little confused. Here are the rundown. This one is the one that is alcohol markers, and all I did was I cut a die cut out of a spider web and I attached it to the back of these, and everything else is exactly the same as you saw it. The ripped paper, and then I put foam squares under my Frankensteins. Then the one in the center is made with watercolors, and then the one on the left is made with just regular colored pencils. So I know a lot of times people say, geez, I can't do the things that other people can do because they have all these products that are so, you know, expensive and different. Well, now you can see that this is almost exactly the same look, and it's three completely different products. So what I did in the inside, this one has Trick or Treat, and I put a few of those little plastic spiders in there, and it has a little piece of paper from the other one, and this is the one that has the crime scene tape on it that I didn't love after I did it. I thought it was just too much. So then the next one, this one says, so glad we met on the web, and I put a little spider there, and then I have some loose spiders. And then this one, I have Happy Halloween, and then I glued a border of the spiders, and then there's some spiders inside as well, and a little bat. This was a die cut Happy Halloween and the bat. So all in all, I hope that you got something out of this as far as learning that you don't have to have a lot of tools to be able to make something as cool as this. I thought it was a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Please give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.